I'm excited to jump into this. You and I met a few years ago when you came to the first Core Summit and got to hear your story about growing the business and launching the brand. And now it's good to have like 3 years later, have a catch up to hear where the brand is going, what you've experienced over the last few years. But to catch the audience up, I thought it would be interesting. One of the stories that I like about the two other co-founders that you started Ferreol with is that you are all mechanical engineers and you all had created your own kind of like backyard
Yeah.
tools to help your ski experience. Could you just tell me a little bit about more about those backyard experiments?
Yeah, you're right. So with my two other co-founders, Felix and Etienne, like we met at Laval University during our studies in mechanical engineering in Quebec City. And the funny thing is that even before like knowing each other, each of us have already done like a personal project related to skis. So Etienne on his side already have built a small ski press in his parents' garage to eventually press some skis. Felix on his side built like kind of a small chairlift in his backyard to do some quick laps of skis. And on my side, with my small brother, we've built a small snow gun to build like a summer setup with the rails to be able to do some skis in our backyard. So it was funny that even before knowing each other, each of us have already had that kind of personal project.
That's amazing. And were any of you interested in being entrepreneurs? I mean, did any of you have an inclination to go start your own brand, or did this come about naturally?
Kind of naturally, but it's sure that the three of us like have a common passion for skiing, entrepreneurship, and engineering. So of course, building a ski company from zero, uh, like bring all that on the table together. But like the other thing I disclosed that even if the three of us were in mechanical engineering, because of our backgrounds, we all have some very complementary skills. So like Felix on his side had like all the entrepreneurship kind of background. Of course, he wanted to start a company a day, but didn't know what and when. On my side, I worked for 10 years in the ski industry before starting Ferreol. So I be able to taste what is entrepreneurship. I learned a lot in the ski industry. I made a lot of contacts. And with a step back, it's like if it was a market study that had last for 10 years. And then Etienne on his side bring all the technical stuff like he is today our CTO and like he's the brain behind like all the prototyping and machines and test bench that we have in our innovation lab.
Cool. And I want to get into how the three of you work together as a founding team because I think that's super interesting that a lot of people will be interested in. But before I get into that, I'm curious what your experience. So you said you worked for 10 years in the ski industry and I'm curious what insight and experiences you gathered from that time kind of like being in the grassroots that helped you transition and create Ferriol. Like what did you see? What did you experience that created this
Yeah.
opportunity for you to be like, "Oh, I should go after that."
So like I would say that at first I spot like two blind spots that I was not understanding why ski manufacturers were not seeing this because I worked for one of the largest ski retailers in Eastern Canada, which is Ski Michel, and at a certain point I was the main buyer for the ski department. So in that position, each year I needed to look, okay, here's what the ski industry is offering for the next year ski collection. And on the other side, I know what my customers are looking for. And those two blind spots, first was that most of skiers were looking for some skis that were way more like playful and versatile, especially in the kind of conditions we can have in Quebec, because most of the skis on the wall and available on the market. We're having long turning radius, there were more charter skis, etc. So people were looking for some more versatile skis. And the second blind spots was more regarding all what is sustainability. Because if we go back like 6 and 7 years ago, at that time, most of ski manufacturers were not doing any effort or putting any energy into that direction. So that's the idea behind Ferreol was to solve those two challenges at the same time. So that's why today all of our ski models have that on-snow signature of being very agile, very playful and versatile in a wide variety of snow and terrain conditions. They all have a short turning radius for the width. The edge to edge is very quick, so you don't feel the width underfoot. They're easy to pivot, etc. So that's the philosophy behind our design, and they are still maneuverable even in weird conditions such as wet snow, wind-packed snow, tight trees, ice, etc. So this is super interesting. And as soon as we launched the company, we positioned ourselves as a pioneer in the sustainable ski industry.
So you said like 6 or 7 years ago that wasn't necessarily a big thing that people were doing, but now it seems like the word sustainable is thrown around a lot by a lot of brands,
Yeah.
hard goods and soft goods. Like, what does that mean? Like, what have you done to kind of show that, oh, this isn't just a word we're putting on a sticker, or this isn't just a paragraph on our website? Like, what are kind of at the core? And I know there's a lot
Yeah.
here, so I'll just let you
Yeah,
riff on it.
totally.
Like, what is kind of at the core of what Ferreol has? How did you start to be like, okay, we're going to be sustainable and this is what it's going to look like from phase one, but now you're years down into the business. How has that transpired and how has that progressed?
Yeah, so first of all, I would say that sustainability is a commitment for the brand, for Ferreol, and that's through all the different activities and products that we have in the company. So first of all, of course, they are the products, and the way that we are seeing the things is that it's important for us to always improve, always makes a step into the right direction. In the mean that we it's important that the step is not too big because it needs to be achievable, but one step at a time, we are moving into the right direction, especially to reduce the carbon footprint of our products and our operations as well. But on top of that, we also try to educate people, customers, and skiers that yes, it's important to work with companies that take care of like the environment and sustainability and things like that. But we also try to learn to them that just skiing itself, like there's a carbon footprint related to that, and one of the like main factor of it is just taking the car to go to the ski resort and then ski there. So we try to do some education with blog posts and just by talking to the customer to do some kind of sensibilizations to them. So, okay, maybe I can go to the resort with other people, like to share the car or take other type of transportations and things like that. So on the product side, we work very hard like to innovate with new materials, new technologies, and new ways to do things to reduce the carbon footprint of the products. So, of course, we can work on the raw material, so everything that is coming in into the ski. On that side, for example, when we are able to do it, we are using like biosourced and or local materials. For example, all of our wood cores are sourced less than 100 kilometers from the factory in Quebec. So we use poplar, we use maple, so it's very close supply chain for that. After that, we have top sheet that has a certain percentage that is biosourced. Same thing with the resin of the epoxy. And of course, that the fact that all the skis are manufactured in Quebec with hydroelectricity. This is one of the nice competitive advantage we can have. We also then work with new type of ski construction. For example, the Surfer 112 just behind me include a flax fiber construction that we developed 3 years ago, and it's still one of the eco-friendliest ski on the market. And all that combinations make skis that, again, in a carbon footprint point of view, are going to the right direction. And it's interesting because even if we take our skis that are built in Canada and then we export skis, for example, on France market, our skis in France are still more sustainable than skis that are built in Europe. And even if we include all the CO2 related to the transportation. So after that, we also quantify all the carbon footprint of our operations, so we can afterwards offset everything of it. So, for example, a big part of it will be each time we need to take the plane for business development, etc. We ensure that we are able like to offset it at the end of the year. And we also finally, I would say that we also had that philosophy that it's important to inspire other ski companies and other like companies like to take care of it. And one of the way we are thinking is that like as an individual, as a person, when we are making a choice to do something for the environment, of course we have an impact, but it's less when we are than when we are doing that same choice as an entrepreneur. Because as a company, each decision we're taking is having a much bigger impact. And that's why we decided, for example, for some of our innovations or technologies to to make it available to other ski manufacturers. So instead of having a positive impact only on our skis, we can have a positive impact on all the skis of all the other ski manufacturers that are starting to use our own material.
That's super interesting about the, it's like collaborating instead of competing
Yeah,
for the greater good, right? And I want to come back to that because I know that that's played a big role in the business. How do you balance sustainability with cost in the sense of like, you know, it's one of those things where consumers like, oh, I, on one hand, before they make the purchase, a consumer could be like, oh yeah, I really want this to be sustainable. I'm really interested in this. And if there's a big price difference, they're like, actually, I want to go with the cheaper one. How do you balance sustainability and price, and how do you educate the customers to let them know that like what, like how do you stand out, right? When you're comparing yourself to all these other bigger brands that
yeah.
could be able to beat you on price.
I would say that the quick answer to that is that at the beginning, we are kind of assuming the lack of margin that this will create because we want to ensure that the price will not uh, be a break to customers to take the more sustainable option. With the idea in mind that the more volume we have, the more growth we have with our company, the more discounts we can have when buying that kind of raw materials that is more sustainable, and then we have prices that are more competitive. So, because I mean, in general, our pricing is just a little bit higher than the average high-end ski, I would say, but we don't want to be too expensive for those reasons.
Have you noticed that your price has been uh, causing hesitancy for some when you're like selling to a retail store? You know, do people bring up the price, or is it like no, we see the magic in it, and we're
Yeah,
willing to make the bet?
it's never been an issue so far for us, especially because yes, the carbon footprint is a thing, but I mean just the design of the skis, the philosophy of it, the quality of the skis, like customers love our skis, and these are still today our best salesmen on the field. So like I would say that our lineup is incredible. We have incredible products with a lot of innovation in it. And when on top of that, we are adding all the the efforts and innovation we are doing with sustainability, like price is not uh, a challenge for us.
That's great. I'd imagine being a small ski brand can be a huge challenge just in and of itself, right? You're up against all these like global brands here that are publicly traded or have been around for 100 years, and to kind of get yourself on the ski wall of a retailer and in the minds of skiers, it's a big challenge, right? Like there's a lot you've got to overcome. What have made the biggest impact for Ferreol and being able to grow as a ski brand and get into retail accounts and get into the minds of the consumers out there so they know who you are and you can start to grow?
Yeah, that's a very good question because of course it's a challenge to start a ski company from zero and then becomes the largest Canadian ski company and so on because we are now selling in international markets. Pretty motivating, pretty cool. But one of the main challenge we we had is just to first to get known. So because as soon as we are able to to let some skis to our customers for them to try in a ski demo, or we let some demos skis in a shop, for example, and are able to try the skis, they automatically understand the added value of Ferreol skis. Like, it's easy to feel what we're seeing. Like when I say the skis are more playful, the skis are more versatile. Our skis are easy to ski skis. We're able to quickly feel it, and it's kind of a highlight key difference when compared to other skis on the market. So that's a thing, and I would say that the one of the other thing that helped a lot is all our expertise in ski engineering, which is pretty unique. And we also have our own innovation lab near Quebec City, and that is very rare for a small or medium ski company to do its own ski engineering and prototyping, but we are doing it, and that means that we are able to develop faster, better products.
So the idea of just basically getting people to be able to try this, just get on the skis, just try the skis, right? So what were the, that seems like, it kind of seems obvious, but that's hard to do as a small company, right? Because that
Yeah,
costs a lot of money to like create a bunch of skis and then show up at a bunch of ski hills where there's
yeah.
snow. Like, what were the tactics that you used to make that happen? Because I think there's a lot of people listening to this podcast who don't have a ski company, but they're making something else, and they're like, yeah, how do I get people convinced as a small maker or a small brand to choose your products over the big brands? And getting them to try it before they buy it is obviously the first one. So what are the tactics that Ferreol used to get in front of people and get on skis?
One of the main point of this would be to be able to select some kind of key small ambassadors that are known in their local resort. They can be some instructors or guide or just good skiers that are known in their town, for example. And because with Ferreol, we know that our products are amazing. So we also know that once people are trying the skis and we have some ambassadors that like our skis, then the word of mouth is very, very strong. And I think it's something that is still very important for us today because the word of mouth is very strong. People are curious to Ferreol skis. Like all of our customers are telling us that it's crazy because each time they are like ski touring or in a chairlift, like other people ask a lot of questions regarding our skis, how they like it, and then the word of mouth is very strong. So of course, when you have some key ambassadors in the area to spread the word, that will very help. And then people will start then to go to their local shop, and most of the time local shops are looking for some competitive advantage compared to other retailers. And if they feel that the products are good and that customers want to buy Ferreol skis and that they want to have a competitive advantage, they will bring Ferreol in the store, of course, because the skis are selling well, and it's just a question of time to just have more and more customers that are having some Ferreol skis.
Yeah, it's interesting. I call it like push marketing or pull marketing. Like the push marketing is when we're trying to sell the store, and the pull marketing is when the customers come in and actually ask for that product. And that's what you, as a brand, that you really want is that pull marketing where the customers are coming in and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
have you heard about this? You should bring this in," and that really helps the
Yeah,
brand
but
grow.
of course
I'm
there
cu-
are like different things that are still obvious that we still need to do. For example, B2B trade show are super important just to get known from the retailers. Now they know that we exist. Sometimes it's just a question of timeline and everything, but most of them now know that we exist, that our skills are good, and they're maybe just waiting for a year or two just to bringing fair after that. So trade shows are kind of important, and of course doing some ski demo days in resorts when possible.
Sure. And that's the interesting thing about the ski industry is that the demo days they play a very important role that you don't necessarily get that in a lot of other things. The ski industry is kind of famous for being to be successful, you need to sell internationally because it's you know it's a small industry and there's a lot of skiers outside of North America. So how have you been successful in branching out into other markets outside of North America? What are the things that have really worked for you?
It's true that for us, it's your first time that you want to sell internationally, there's a lot of things that need to be done just to understand how to do business and to avoid any mistakes. But for example, something that a resources that is there to help entrepreneurs that I encourage people to give them a call would be for, for example, like the Canada Embassy, they have some offices all around the world. And for example, in France, there is the Canada Embassy of France, and there are some delegates, so some people that are there just to help people to enter into a new market. And the thing that is great when talking to those people is that, for example, in France, they are in a way better position than me to tell me, okay, in your industry, here are some potential distributors that can be interesting for you. They have some contacts. They are able to arrange me some meetings with other entrepreneurs in similar fields just to get some advice. Or like they are super useful. And after that, for example, it was my first time I needed to negotiate a commercial contract with a distributor. How am I doing that if it's my first time? So they were able like to give me some benchmarks, some couple of ideas to ensure that the partnership that I was building was the most win-win possible.
That's amazing. How did you originally find those contacts? Like, how did you originally know, like, oh, there's this service that the embassy in France is going to help me with?
First time I heard from them was in a commercial trip arranged by an organization in Quebec City called Quebec International. We were a delegation of entrepreneurs going in France to just to learn and to meet some key people there, some resources, and the Canada Embassy was one of them. And we have the same thing with Quebec International. Like Quebec have some offices all around the world as well, the province of Quebec, and they are here to help Quebec companies. So the mix of both of them really helped us. And on top of that, at that kind of same time, we got our like a grant from like the service that is with the Canada Embassy for companies, and it's a grant called Can Export, which is to help companies to export their products internationally. So it's all the kind of the same group, but it's a group that is there for entrepreneurs that are seeking to sell at in other markets.
Amazing. Yeah, in BC we have Export Navigator, which I think is a federal project, but I definitely know there's a bunch of core members
Yeah,
who've benefited from working with Export Navigator, which is, yeah, it's amazing because it is a challenge to, it's a challenge to sell in your own country,
yeah,
much less go sell
totally. So
across the border somewhere
the
else. So
idea is that there are some resources available, so why not using them?
totally. I mean, I guess in some ways our taxes are paying for them, so let's go, let's go use them. I want to talk about you touch on a little bit is like kind of your co-founders, the three of you, the academic brain power that is inside the Ferreol co-founders is pretty. I kind of want to say it's like abnormal to have three engineers to develop a ski brand like this. I mean, that's my outsider's perspective. Is that in your experience, is that abnormal to have three engineers come together to form a ski brand?
Yeah, I would say that it's definitively abnormal, and more than that, it's not only with the three co-founders, but in the with the team in general. I think we we have a team that is very solid because 1 year after we founded Ferreol, we bring in a fourth partner. His name is Paul, with a completely different background for us, so that is complementary. But for the engineering side, we push that further because Personally, I've also done my master degree in mechanical engineering, where I studied alpine skis on snow fields. So that's pretty niche, but pretty cool when you want to grow a ski company, which is having a culture of innovation. And in the team, we also have Philip, who also studied mechanical engineering, and he has done his master degree as well. And his master's was on the vibrations of alpine skis. So definitively together, we have a unique expertise in ski engineering in North America, if it's not in the world. So that's why when we had all that expertise in our innovation lab, which is again very unique, then we are able to prototype and develop skis very quickly. We even develop our own ski engineering and ski designer software where we are able to do a bunch of like numeric simulations, predictions on snow performance, on evaluate the durability of the skis. We are able numerically to evaluate all the, the main parameters. So even before building the first prototype, we have a very good idea of like what's going on. And to give you an idea, when we build our first prototype, it will be already converge around 75-80%, which is big for a first iteration. So we are able to converge to the final version very quickly because again, we understand what's going on. Like we evaluate all the distribution of the bending stiffness of the ski. Same thing for the torsional stiffness, which is super important. We evaluate like the pressure distribution between the ski and the snow, and what if I change that parameter a little bit, that and that. And we implement in our software again all the what is necessary to evaluate the carbon footprint. So while building and designing a ski, we already know what is the impact on the carbon footprint because it's well implemented in the design. And after that, well, I always know in my ski where is the weakness point and what is the layer that will break first, and then we can ask ourselves, is this enough or not? And we have some test bench like to inject artificially ski season into a ski construction to evaluate the durability. So knowing how many turns you can do in a run, how many runs in a day, and how many days in a season, then we can inject this into the ski. So when we are testing different materials, different technologies, it's super fast just to do some comparisons of durability between two things. So this is just some few examples to give you an idea that there's a lot of things in an engineering point of view that is going on at Ferreol. And again, it's rare because most of small and medium ski companies are subcontracting this to the factory that actually build the skis to a higher volume. So they are way more limited in terms of like ski engineering that is possible to do. And and to give you another example, it's not for nothing that the more it goes, the more we have some small, medium, or even large ski companies that are reaching out to us for ski engineering services or ski prototyping services, because at the end it will be it will be less expensive because it's way more faster, and we need to build less prototypes at the same time. So we are able to develop in months what it usually takes some years to develop.
That's crazy. And I mean this as a compliment. You are like the ski nerds, and you've built this like
Yeah.
amazing business around. So I guess it leads the question is, do you think of yourself as an engineering company with a ski focus, or are you a ski company with an engineering focus?
It depends on the day.
Nice.
Both
Nice.
of them.
So how, and I want to get into this. I want to get into this engineering thing because I mean, obviously that's at the core of what you do. So you kind of alluded to it. So is the innovation lab that you've developed, is that's a profit center for you now because you're basically offering that as a service to other companies?
Yeah, exactly. So of course we are always prioritizing our own R&D projects. But depending of the time of the year, we have some time where we are able to do some contracts for other ski or snowboard companies. So it's pretty cool to be able to do so at the same time.
I'd imagine an innovation lab like this, like developing your own software, takes a lot of power, like human power. But to create the actual hard goods and the machinery that allows you to do all this testing is capital intensive. How did you, how does a small brand come up with the capital to be able to develop this lab like this?
Yeah, I would say that of course, like we need to invest like in to take care of all we are investing our money into R&D projects that we believe into it. And we at Ferreol, we are very good to do a lot with not a lot. And one example of that is that when you want us to have an innovation lab, one of the first thing you need to have in the lab is a CNC machine to like machine wood cores, machine some molds, different layers, etc. But like when we started the company, we were student entrepreneurs. I mean, we didn't have any money to buy some machines. So when we were looking on marketplace, like, okay, a CNC machine that was kind of roughly doing the job, old thing, it was like, I think it was, we can find one at like 25K. It was too expensive. So especially Etienne, what he decided to do, he design, manufacture, and code is our own CNC machine, and it's still the machine that we are using today in our lab. So we built from zero our own CNC machine, and that's the philosophy that we are implementing into our lab, just to be the more cost efficient possible. So if we need a machine or we need to do a test bench, there's a lot of chances that we're going to develop and code it ourselves to make it done.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was right. You are the ski nerds. This is so cool. So that's why, I mean, I was going to ask the question is like, why doesn't anybody else do this? You guys have done this. Why hasn't anybody else done this? And I guess you just answered it because it's that perfect mixture of the founders that have come together to create Ferreol that allows you to be able to have these competitive
but
advantages.
of course, because we were deep into like innovation and engineering and that kind of stuff, we were also able to get some R&D grant, federal grants, because again, we are created added value for like in the society based on what we're doing, and then the business is growing. We're hiring more qualified people and things like that. And like again, I don't think there's a lot of ski company that have published some scientific papers in the sport engineering journal and that had done some conference in sport engineering and that participate to have some patents on new technologies and things. So this is pretty cool and incredible.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, how many people are in the business right now? Like how many people do you employ?
I think, yeah, I think because like, we have two companies. We have Ferreol Skis, we have Ferreol Technologies, two different companies. So in total, now we're 12. But
Wow.
now in Ferreol Skis, we're 7.
Okay. Great. And I'm glad this is a perfect segue because that was the next thing I was going to ask you about. So you have two companies and you have this, which one is larger from capitalization standpoint, from like revenue standpoint, the ski company or the technology company?
Yeah, the ski company for now, but at the end, there's a lot of chances that Ferreol Technologies will become bigger, of course.
Okay, cool. As I assume. So explain to us why there's two different companies and what this Ferreol Technologies company is, because this is a very interesting story.
Yeah, and again, it's a story that is based on like innovation and the curiosity to develop new cool things. So the story behind is that like 4 years ago, something like that, we decided to develop from zero a completely new aluminum alloy to compete with the only aluminum alloy that was good enough to be used in skis. So when someone says, oh, in my skis there's one layer of metal or there are 2 layers of metal, those people are referring to titanol or Ti. Titanol is an aluminum alloy. It's not a titanium alloy. Like people think, but it's an aluminum alloy. And for the last 40 years, it was the only aluminum alloy that was good enough to be used in skis. So uh, it was challenging for us, but also for all ski manufacturers all around the world. So we decided to develop our own alloy, and with the idea that maybe we can have added value compared to titanol based on four different things. Of course, to break the monopoly. Secondly, to have something that is an alloy that is stronger, because sometimes we are with titanol we can be limited in the design space of skis because of mechanical properties, and some manufacturers are having some challenges regarding bonding, and of course there is a challenge with the carbon footprint of it, because to make it bond, they are doing phosphoric anodization on it. So as you can imagine, it's it's heavy on on the carbon footprint and toxicity and that kind of stuff. So that was the idea. So we team up with a couple of aluminum organization in Quebec, and with that idea to do something that is better. And if I'm skipping 3 years, ends up that according to the aluminum industry, we apparently developed and by far the strongest aluminum in the world. They've never seen that. And to give you an idea, when compared to like the fancy aluminum alloys that are currently used in aerospace or aeronautic, our alloy, we have different recipes, but we're not only 1, 2, or 3% stronger, but we can be up to 45% stronger, which is a huge, huge gain. So that creates a lot of opportunities in many industries around our alloy. So that's why we needed to create a second company for that business model, because as you can imagine, selling skis and selling aluminum is completely two different business model. So 3 years ago, like 2, 3 years ago, yeah, this is when we started Ferreol Technologies for that business model. And the name we give to the alloy is the Scalium, because it's an aluminum scandium alloy. And now it's very cool because most of all the ski manufacturers all around the world are like finishing their lab testing, their on-snow testing, their durability testing, etc. And we only have green lights so far. So ski manufacturers, they all love very much our product. So this is very cool. So from what we can expect, of course, they are all going at different speed, but I would say that a couple of them are looking to include the Scalium maybe in 27, 28 collection for the ones that are faster, but maybe 28, 29 ski collections. But for us at Ferreol, we will be the first to use it. So all of our skis in 26, 27 will include Scalium in it. So it's a very, very big milestone, because again, it's the first world alternative to titanol. So pretty cool.
That's amazing. So not only do you see a need for an expensive CNC machine, and you made your own CNC machine, you're like, hey, I think we could improve this metal too. And then you just went out. I mean, I know it's I'm speed running through this, but you went out and developed your own material, which then turns out to be, theoretically, there's a future in the next 5 years where scalium is the metal that's in every ski, theoretically, because you're proving that you're better than the 40-year-old predecessor. Is that an accurate assessment, you
It's
think?
totally accurate. Yeah. It's
Okay,
totally
so
accurate. And the other amazing thing is that, of course, such a strong aluminum alloy is not only good for skis, but for many other markets as well. So the idea is that if you want to reduce the weight of something, you need to put less material. So the material that is left need to be stronger. So with that principle, we can think of many sport equipments, for example, ski touring bindings. They are using a lot of aluminum or other sport equipments, but also we already have a couple of partnerships in aerospace. For instance, last fall, we got a very nice grant from the Canadian Space Agency to do some proofs of concept for satellites components. So this is pretty amazing. And we also have in aeronautics some partnerships directly with some of the largest OEMs to evaluate all the added value that Skillium can bring to the table. So it's pretty like awesome just to think that, oh, it's a new material that initially we developed in Ferreol Skis for our own skis, but then we have the opportunity to disrupt many industries. And if we bring back sustainability into this, we all know that the aviation industry is very heavy on CO2. So knowing that we can potentially contribute to decarbonize that industry with lighter components and lighter airplanes, even if it's small or it's a medium contribution, I mean, it's still having a very huge impact because like an airplane will fly for like 30 years. So if it's lighter, they will burn less fuel, and this will have a major impact of carbon footprint reduction.
That is amazing. Okay, so ski nerds are totally changing the world one material at a time, which is incredible. So going back to this idea that are you an engineering company with a ski focus or a ski company with an engineering focus? It sounds like right now you're a ski company, but probably in the near future you're an engineering company.
Or
And
maybe Ferreol Technologies is the engineering company, or both of
yeah.
them.
Yes, exactly. So you're two now, okay, good point. You're two different companies, two different companies. So I have to ask because I mean, it's kind of like you're literally riding a rocket ship. That theoretically we could be making rocket ships out of this thing. So the potential growth of both brands is significant, right? You've
Yeah,
got this really interesting ski company that's doing dynamic, innovative things that is kind of changing the way we're making skis, while at the same time you have this technology company that is changing the way we're producing things in the world. As founders, as an entrepreneur, how do you think about where do you invest your time and resources going forward? Like how do you make those decisions on a day to day, knowing that in the next 2 to 3 years everything's going to be changing for
yeah.
you?
It's a great question because like if we go back, I think yeah, 2 years ago, of course it was a challenge, the focus, because it's two completely different companies. Like in Ferreol Skis, I can talk directly to a customer that is buying a pair of skis, but in Ferreol Technologies, whoever we are talking with, it's a multinational in terms of raw material and stuff like rolling mills or the end customers that like the big companies, they are all multinational. So it's like on the other side completely of doing in entrepreneurship. And so like what we decided to do to help with the focus is that I'm now officially like the CEO of Ferreol Skis, and my partner Felix is this CEO of Ferreol Technologies, and then Etienne is the CTO of both on both sides. So what it does is that on my side, I would say that 75-80% of my time will be in Ferreol Skis, and it's the same thing with Felix, but flip on the other side. So it really helped a lot with the focus. And now what we are trying to do is that with the new employees that we are hiring, we try that they are on one side or on the other. Of course, we are collaborating on a day-to-day basis, but that each new employee, it's clear what their main objective is.
And if you don't want to talk about this, if you don't have to, it brings up some questions that I'm curious about. Does like the cap table look the same on both for both companies? Is it the same founders, the same owners, same
Yeah,
percentages on both sides?
yeah,
Cool. And I would imagine that you've had to bring some investors in. Well, I know you had a very, what was said to be the most interesting or the best pitch on Dragon's Den. So I know that you've brought, and you could talk about that story, what that looked like exactly. And I'll link to it in the show notes too, so people can see what it looked like. So when you've brought capital into the business, investment into the business, like talk to me a little bit about what that looks like and how you've gone about doing that. Because developing a material like this seems to me like it would have to be capital intensive.
yeah. So it's a long process, and it's something that we are doing, in fact, right now in both companies. So right now we are doing some funding rounds. So one for Ferreol Skis, one for Ferreol Technologies, to ensure that we can keep the momentum that we have in our like the pace that we are developing some new technologies, some new innovations, and to bring new things on the market. Like, as you can imagine, to commercialize an aluminum alloy in the aeronautic market can take some times before to have the first sale. So we need some capitals to do that. On Ferreol Skis, now that we have very great products and that people love, I would say that we just need more capital just to get known, in fact. And now that like this winter in the 25-26 winter, it was our first year selling skis in France, and this has been a huge success. So what we're looking at right now is how can we take the success in France and then duplicate it in other countries to scale the company. But again, capital is important because if you want a growth, it also means that, okay, the benefits that you're making by selling the skis, a big part of it will be used to produce more skis the year after. So that can be a challenge with the cash flow. So that's why we need to be very tight of how we are managing the cash flow, and that we are looking to do a funding round to ensure that we can grow correctly in the selected markets.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this is stick with Ferreol Skis for the time. So the capital that you're bringing, like the investment you're bringing in now, you're doing that. What's the focus of that? Like, how do you want to deploy that, and how are you going to make the
Yeah.
most of that?
So there's a part that will be in to expand our markets in other countries. So of course there some marketing, some ambassadors, some athletes, things like that, but also some commercial trips to meet the right partners for us that we are going to work with all around the world. So this is one of the parts, so all the commercial side. And of course, we still want to invest in our R&D capacities, especially because right now there are a lot of projects that are going on. Again, yes, for our commercial skis, but for example, we have a very great project right now with Freestyle Canada to develop World Cup moguls skis for the athletes. So this is something that is very cool and that we are doing right now. And in parallel, I don't know if you are aware of it, but we developed two military ski models during the last year, and the Canadian Defense have started to use some because we won our first contract in the last months. We already delivered the military skis to them, and from what I know, I think they love them, and it's super interesting. Like they need to have some skis that are like super durable, heavy duty, but light at the same time because the skis that they are using, these are more Nordic skis. So skis to move in the north, to move efficiently in the Arctic, but like they can have like 50 kilos on their shoulders. So the load on the ski is different. They need to be able to travel many kilometers on ice or very deep snow or in small mountains, etc. At like minus 60 degrees. So like the skis need to be super durable. So it's cool because what we are investing a lot to push further innovation and engineering for those skis, but then we are learning some new stuff that we eventually will be able to bring back into our own commercial skis.
That's interesting because I don't think a lot of people are aware of this, that military contracts in the outdoor industry are actually a big part of innovation.
Yeah.
And, it can be a huge part of the cash flow that allows that innovation to then trickle down to the consumer level. So do you see the things that you're developing kind of on these government contracts, these military contracts that are going to actually show up? Do you think those types of R&D things will actually show up in alpine skis in the future?
Yeah, I would say definitely.
That's very cool. Being a mechanical engineer and coming from the ski industry, you've got these kind of two parts that allowed you to be successful in Ferreol. But there's this whole other, maybe even now it's a much larger part of your life as the CEO of Ferreol Ski, which is being a founder, being an entrepreneur, being a business person. What are the things that you've learned in this process of being an entrepreneur. So, like, what are the big things, the big lessons you've learned, and also what have been the best resources for you to gain that knowledge? Like, where do you go to learn these things? Where do you go to develop your skills as a business owner?
I would say that one of the main thing would be to be well surrounded, surrounded by coaches, by mentors, by of course other entrepreneurs, but also surrounded by a qualified team that you believe into it. And because it's critical to have a team that is performing, that with people that are better than you in their own fields. So this is what we're looking for. At Ferreol, we have that mindset that people that we are hiring, they need to be what we are calling intrapreneurs instead of entrepreneurs. So they all the skill sets needed to be an entrepreneur. They have some leadership and they are able to build some project and they have some vision, etc. So this is a big part. And after that, by being surrounded by, again, many other companies, entrepreneurs, and mentors, this will help you a lot to avoid big mistakes because maybe some of the mentors already have done some mistakes or they have a big experience while running some companies. So it's super helpful. It's important to be coachable. I mean, if someone comes to me, hey, that idea, it's like it's a bad idea. You should not do this. You need to be able to listen, and you need to be coachable of how can I improve myself as an entrepreneur, but the company itself as well. So yeah, and the something that can be surprising is that I can talk to an entrepreneur that is in a completely different field than the ski industry. It can be, I don't know, in the construction or whatever. But it's crazy all the challenges in entrepreneurship are the same. All to do it, to be able to do some forecasts and cash flow and build some win-win partnerships, how to acquire some customers and develop great products, etc. The supply chain, production, like it, it's crazy. All the challenges are the same. So an advice that is good for him will also be good for me.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny. We think that our businesses and our challenges are all unique and special and to us. It's like, oh no, you wouldn't understand. My business is just like this. And the more you understand, the more businesses you encounter. This has been my experience, at least, is that the universal can be explained through the individual. Like, you're experiencing something as a business owner that I can experience as a business owner in a completely different field in a completely different country. It's like there's some real universal truths to entrepreneurship that I think, as you touched on, I 100% agree with. So you've got two rapidly growing businesses. I'm sure you're extremely busy. How do you balance growing these businesses and giving everything you have to them while at the same time being able to go and enjoy the ski lifestyle and the fruits
Yeah.
of your labor, so to speak, and test out skis? Like, how do you balance all that?
And it's a challenge, but it's so important to take the time for yourself and your family and friends as well, because it's a balance, you know, it cannot be only work. Of course, there are some stretch in the year where like we can do 100 hours in a week because there's something happening, but if we look at the overall of the year, there it's important that there's like a kind of a balance. So, for instance, for myself, like all the Saturday and the Sunday morning, they are freeze in my calendar and in my girlfriend calendar that these 2 moments are for us to go skiing. That's all. We are not going to do anything else. We are taking those moments for ourselves to go skiing. So this is some like kind of ideas that work for us. After that, uh, to just book in advance some vacation, some ski vacation. So, for example, like I again with my girlfriend, we went into France in the first week of February this winter for skiing. So that of course was amazing. Like I didn't have the time to go there. but I take the time. So I ensure to prepare Ferreol and the team before I left, and then of course I need to keep back when after I come back from the vacation. But it's important to take the time because you will never feel like if there was a perfect timing to take some vacation. There are no perfect timing. There's always something going on, so you just need to take the time. And finally, something that helped me a lot is 2 years ago I started to wake up early because before that I was working late at night. So after dinner I was still working, but since I'm waking up earlier, now I have my evenings are free, and these are more quality time I can have. So, like 2 or 3 times per week, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. Like this morning. This morning I wake up at 4 a.m. So it's cool because between 4 and 8, um, almost nobody is reaching out to us. And nowadays, France, yes, and Europe, but almost nobody is reaching out to us. So you can be focused and like do a lot of good work with a good level of focus. So I think everybody has a different solution of what works best, but that is working good for me.
Wonderful. Good for you for finding what works best for you and for creating the balance. Whether
Exactly.
you have time for it or not, you've created the balance. So good for you on that. Where do you want to be as an entrepreneur, and where do you want Ferreol as a brand to be in 5 years?
Yeah. So first, I would say that in 5 years, I would definitively um, love Ferreol to be in the top 10 of the indie brands. So like if the indie brand like I can maybe I can make the parallel with like the microbreweries that together have a big growth in the beer industry. So there is kind of the same thing right now that is happening in this industry. So smaller brands and indie brands are together, they are growing in this industry. So for example, I can consider that Black Rose is an indie brand faction, etc. So of course I want to be able to go to that kind of level, to be uh, to be known for our ski engineering worldwide, from customers, but also from ski manufacturers and the industry. And well, I would say that for Ferreol Technologies, I think our big milestone that we're looking forward to it will be when we will see in ski shops skis from other brands with our own material in it. I think we will take 2 minutes there. And of course, the first time that they will have some scalium in space, I think it will be another big milestone for us.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big milestone for some skiers from Quebec for sure. That's pretty cool. The question I always end these conversations with is how do you define success for yourself?
That's a good question. I would say, yeah, I would say that success for me is to be able to to have some idea that has the potential to disrupt your industry, something that customers are looking for, and to be able to make it happen again with a vision, with leadership, but with a team that together we're working to the same direction, and then eventually that uh, other brand or other customers are using our product. I think for me, this is, of course, kind of success. Be able to achieve some projects from the idea to like selling a products to people that believe in it.
Well, your story, Jonathan, and the story of your co-founders building Ferreol Skis and Ferreol Technologies is amazing. Like it is truly amazing that you guys have created this and done this. So congrats on that. It's
Thanks.
inspiring to watch and to see, and it's going to be amazing to see where it goes in the future. I mean, the future seems so bright for you guys. So congrats on that. Where would you like to leave people? Where should people go to find out more? Like, what is the last thing you want to be able to leave people with on this conversation?
Well, I would say that the go try out our skis. Like for now, we have many retailers in Western Canada. So go see them, go try our skis, ask some questions to the salesmen in shops, or reach out to us. We are looking again to be more present in Western Canada, to grow our market. It's going super well, but again, the more we are getting known, the more we will be able to supply the Canadian industry with Canadian skis.
Yeah, do it. Go check them out. Go try them out for yourself and experience what these ski nerds in Quebec have developed for us as the ski industry. It's very cool. Thanks again, Jonathan. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for the invitation.